great public transportation system there, and I think we as Americans should focus some of our efforts in developing ours. It's harder, but it's not impossible. For example, in Turkey, if you work for a university, they actually have shuttle services that pick up their employees. What a novel idea. In Albany, I can tell you that most faculty live in certain areas. They live in Delmar, they live in Clifton Park. Wouldn't it be a great thing if the university provided a shuttle service to save for some of, not only to save the environment and to appeal to the Go Green initiative that we have in New Albany. So using public transportation, I mean, in Turkey there's a bus every 5 minutes. I never have to wait more than 5 minutes for a bus. I'm astounded at how efficient it is because I've lived in places like Boston, I've lived in places like DC. I've waited half hour at a time, at least, sometimes 45 minutes for my bus to come. Final thing is, water is a precious resource. You really realize that when you go to Turkey. I realized it probably more than I wanted to realize it. Because in 2007, Ankara had a water shortage that was, I want to read you something about that. Basically, on August 1st, 2007, the Director General of the State Hydraulic Works announced that Ankara had enough water for just 78 days, and the water level in the city's reservoirs had fallen to 5.5% of capacity, down from the previous years of only 23% of capacity. So this is, Americans, are still wondering, is global warming really happening? In order for Americans to learn about the environment, you've got to travel around the world. And here is a case where you actually see it. You actually see a water shortage. You can't, in Ankara they had water restrictions. You couldn't use any water. It got to the point where water was more valuable than gas, where people who were very, very poor were going to apartment water depots and opening them up and taking water. So it's really an issue that we have to work together, and I think that some of the things that Turks can do, we can learn from. Okay, so I've been pretty one-sided so far. So what are my lessons? What can Turks learn from Americans? I'm going to give you only 2 things that they can learn. The first is smoking cessation. One of the reasons why the males aren't as obese is because they're smoking. Okay? The males are low. You notice the disparity between men and women in Turkey. It's not that they're not eating, it's that they're smoking. And, that's going to affect their health. And the other thing is the laws. They have passed laws in Turkey, but they don't honor them. We went in January, and we go to the restaurant, a very nice restaurant, TK, in Ankara, and, they're smoking. And I said, excuse me, but they're smoking. Isn't there a law against smoking? And they're like, oh, we have fans and things like that. So they haven't caught up yet because they don't realize that secondhand smoke is very, very dangerous and as much of a cause of cancer as firsthand smoking. Second thing, driving. I think many people say that public speaking is the greatest fear. Driving in Turkey for me was the most fearful thing I had to do. I told Reggie, I said, let me go get the kids from their creche, from their daycare. And he said, are you sure? Are you sure? I said, I'm sure. And on the way there, I was like this. Because it is, what I can't figure out, and maybe one of you Turks in the audience can tell me is, how is it that you guys are so hospitable in your home, but when you get on the road, it's chaotic. I don't know that irony. And the last thing I'll close with respect to driving is dolmuş. Gotta get rid of the dolmuş because I've been on a dolmuş during an accident. Reggie actually had an accident with the dolmuş. They are the epitome of the bad drivers in Turkey. So that's my insights, and thank you again for inviting me.
very much, Professor Friedman, for your wonderful presentation. Now let's go on with some music, art, and demonstrations. We're going to start with a short demo on Turkish coffee. As Professor Friedman noted in her presentation, we usually drink and serve Turkish coffee to our guests after dinner. We'll not be able to serve you Turkish coffee tonight, but you can enjoy the chocolate special back there. Our friends Cagri, Ozkose-Biyik, and Hamide Yilmaz will be demonstrating Turkish coffee preparation.
Is this working? Yes, it is. It's the way. What else do you need? You need finjan. And teaspoon. Turkish teaspoon is really cute and small, as you can see. So you need teaspoon. But I put the regular American measures, like when here, like if it says half teaspoon is the regular teaspoon that you guys use. So let's start. Here we have some cold water. You need to, you need 1 cup, 1 finjan of water per person.
It's coming.
Here, the cold water is going to the jezve. And then you need a full tablespoon of Turkish coffee. And then sugar, Sugar is added during the brewing process, not after you make the Turkish coffee. So the serving spoon is eliminated. You don't need a serving spoon while serving the Turkish coffee. Okay, now our coffee is going to the heater. You don't need to stir the coffee too much. Just, stir it until the ingredients dissolve. And then you let it heat slowly. You need to heat the pot as slowly as you can because boiling coffee quickly degrades the taste and produces a little froth that you're supposed to have on top. Okay, we just need to wait till it gets boils. We might have to wait for a long time though. And while waiting, you shouldn't stir the coffee because you'll get that little froth. That's one of the tricks. And do we need to say anything else? Sugar is optional. Like when you are serving Turkish coffee, you can ask how sweet the guests want their coffee, like no sugar or medium sugar or too sweet. So depending on their taste, you can put as much sugar you want. We don't add cream or milk in the Turkish coffee. It's just plain. There is no way you can have Turkish coffee with milk or cream. And another thing you need to remember is to take little sips. Otherwise, you're gonna burn your hands and